What symbolizes love, purity, beauty, mortality, rebirth, and emotions, and ideas? If you guessed a flower, you'd be right. Flowers have been depicted throughout art history, starting with the Egyptians. They believed that the lotus flower symbolized rebirth because it would come forth out of the murky waters of the Nile River and bring life. But then, every night, the flower would close up its petals and then reopen in the morning. You can see here that this was a very early form of ceramics. This lotus flower was created in the 2nd century BC. Let's fast forward several thousand years, the Renaissance, when Leonardo da Vinci made this beautiful drawing of violets that looks more like a machine drawing than a floral picture. He dissected flowers to understand their anatomy and how they functioned. Meticulous observation. He went beyond aesthetics to uncover growth and structure, the fusion of art and science. His images reflected his belief in the interconnectedness of everything. German artist Albrecht Dürer was renowned for his highly detailed sketches of plants. One of my favorite images of his is a clump of grass, and he just renders it so beautifully and with so much detail. I love it. Fast forward to the Dutch Golden Age. It was a period of immense wealth, culture, international travel, and scientific breakthroughs in the Netherlands. What changed at this time that helped the development of still life painting was the Protestant Reformation. How, you ask? At that point, the images of religious icons were out of style. Still lifes became popular. That gave rise to the paintings of flowers. This was a time before photographs, before video. Artists displayed their technical skill, often by painting flowers that would not be in bloom at the same time. Patrons enjoyed showcasing the fact that they could afford to grow these exquisite and exotic tulips and plants from around the world. One of the most famous Dutch artists was Rachel Ruysch. She was a pioneering female botanical artist. She really looked at all the details on the flowers. She was one of the most celebrated painters of the Dutch Golden Age, and she started painting at 15 years old. And she was eventually the first woman to be admitted to the Confrère Pictura, an artist guild at The Hague. And some of her work still hangs at The Hague. Her images really bridge the gap between scientific study and artistic expression. Flower painting really came to vogue when the royals started collecting images of flowers. Pierre-Joseph Rédu, also known as Raphael of the Flowers, painted work for Marie Antoinette and Empress Josephine Bonaparte. Now we move on to the Impressionist period, where it's not so much about capturing each flower, each leaf, each petal. It's more about the light and the shadow and the color and the feeling we feel. Monet's water lilies really capture this, and it was fascinating to discover that in the last 30 years of his life, Monet had cataracts. Even though he was struggling, he still made these incredible works that perhaps were even more beautiful due to his condition. It's like we're stepping right into the landscape and the light and the feeling it must have been like to be there with Monet. What a beautiful experience. In this image, the Amaryllis by Piet Mondrian in 1910, he hints at how his style will evolve soon to be those familiar black lines with yellow, blue, and red squares. He took this Amaryllis and just modernized it, simplified the color palette with just 4 colors, and gave us a dramatic graphic work that is striking and powerful. Then we come to symbolism. Odéon Redon started to look at the flowers, first abstract in 1905 in this piece, and then he began to use flowers as an expression of what was happening internally. If you look at his subject, she seems very plain. Odéon attempts to show the activeness and the imagination in her mind. Alphonse Mucha was also painting during the time of the Impressionist movement. He painted this beautiful image of four seasons in the Art Nouveau style. It is just so amazing to me how all of these different styles of art flourished at the same time. Daniel Ridgway Knight also painted at the same time as the Impressionists. Very realistic paintings. He moved to the Seine River and he would paint the poppies that grew there as well as the people that were tending the gardens. In this image, this gardener takes a moment to break and you wonder, is she tired from gardening or maybe from the poppies? That's what I wondered anyway. Henri Fantin-Latour was a contemporary of the Impressionists. He got more into photorealism and painted every single leaf and every single petal with incredible accuracy. He earned the respect and admiration of the Impressionists because of his command of the classical style. And Van Gogh, if you look at this muted background, imagine that it was hot pink and how much it would contrast against those irises. And he painted those for his mom while he was in the asylum. The thick application of the paint and the swirling brushstrokes added texture and movement and hinted at the inner turmoil within his mind. He explored themes of life, death, and the human condition. Now, Georgia O'Keeffe, she was a pioneering American modernist, and this is an image of her taken by her husband and the gardener at her husband's family estate in 1920. I just love her sense of style and the fact that she's standing there holding a saw ready to help prune those trees. As you may know, there has been some drama saying that her images are representative of lady parts, which is understandable. Even her husband said that. And she said, no, I want people to really look and see up close the colors, the shapes, and the patterns. It amazes me how much passion and expression flowers have in artwork and in our lives. They can signify our mortality, but also rebirth, and of course love. So from myself to yourself, thank you for joining me on this journey.